Have you ever had the overwhelming feeling that someone was watching you? I mean, something that you just couldn't shake, and no matter where you looked, you just couldn't figure it out? That's kind of what's happening in this story coming up. Or it might just be a freeloader who's overstayed his welcome. You be the judge. This happened quite a few years ago, back around 2013. I had just broken up with my ex girlfriend at the time and needed a place to live. Looking online, I ended up finding a great place within great proximity to the public transportation line for my daily work commute. Anyway, it was a shithole kind of deal, but for what I paid, it was still a bargain. A large 3 bedroom house with a nice weed filled garden, a functioning kitchen, spotty cable TV, fast Wi Fi, thanks to my neighbors, if you know what I mean. It was just me and the landlady, a retired librarian, and also a widow of several years from what I gather. She was very kind and had a very hippie-ish personality, but that's neither here nor there. Let me start with the actual events. The landlady, let's call her Mary for sake of keeping her identity safe. She had distant family living in Seattle. About 6 months in, after moving in, she went to stay in Seattle for about a month or so to visit some friends and family. Smooth, I thought. I had the entire place all to myself. A few nights into this freedom, I was downstairs watching some late night TV. As I sat watching in my peripheral vision, to my right, I noticed this very strange, blurry ball of light. It seemed to be rising up and down very slightly. To describe the size and color, it was about the size of a nice sized orange, and it was white, with what seemed to be slight yellowish glow. After a second or two, I looked directly at it and saw it literally disintegrate into nothing within half a second. At this point, I dismissed it as a trick of light or maybe just my eyes being tired and wasn't particularly spooked or alarmed by it. Now get this. Fast forward a few months later, the landlady was back and I recently started seeing a new girlfriend. I hadn't mentioned any of what I saw to either of them. For the most part, I'd largely forgotten about it. Anyway, my new girlfriend had stayed at mine for a half a dozen times, right? And for some reason, she never wanted to relax downstairs. She always wanted to stay in my room. And I know what you're thinking. Why are you tripping? But this bugged me out as I felt really limited and wanted to chill downstairs every now and then. It's kind of sparked an argument, and I was asking her what was wrong. Has Mary said something to piss you off? This is when I found out that she had a gift, and not the kind that comes with a Christmas or birthdays or wrapped in a bow. And that the first time she came around, she had wondered who the man was that was sitting in the kitchen. She soon enough had realized that the man wasn't real, and revealed to me that most times she went upstairs after coming in, she saw a thick mist halfway up, or just literally standing there on the landing. She described it as a column of smoke. Okay, at the revelation of all of this, I became very concerned, and yes, pretty alarmed about it all. Was she making all this up? Could she just be imagining all of this? I didn't notice anything since that orb, but I was very inquisitive. Me and her took photos of each other in my room. Her pic of me was fine. Mine of her had a crazy amount of orbs all around her. It was the same lighting, the same position, everything. Now I was seriously thinking, damn, there is definitely something up here. I didn't feel threatened, but mostly really curious. This, however, was all about to change. I can't recall how much after this was, maybe a few weeks, but she was staying over in my room, and I woke up to the sound of her being rather distressed from what was seeming to be like a very bad dream. I comforted her and said it was all right. Just a nightmare, like it's going to be okay type of thing. And we soon drifted off back to sleep. An hour or so later, at the time which seems to be very active for paranormal events, 3 a.m., I woke up again. This time I heard her saying, "He's here." I felt this most severe feeling of dread overwhelm me, When I sleep, I'm usually facing the left side, and she was facing the other side next to me. I had to fight this huge desire to not look, but a part of me implored me to roll over and see. I rolled over and was met with the most terrifying sight I had ever seen. There was literally a man, clear as day, considering the time of night and the available lighting, literally standing next to her. He was tall and had the most distinctive hair. It was wild and gray. He was staring at my girlfriend in a very intense manner. The sense of time seemed to be very vague here, but this must have lasted at least a minute or two, as his apparition then gradually disintegrated into nothing. I was unable to move, speak, or make sense of what happened. I was in total shock. After it vanished, the room seemed to adopt a lighter vibe. We discussed what happened for quite some time, and I smoked a ton of weed to try to calm myself down. I'm just being honest. Early that morning, after not getting any sleep as the lights had all been switched on, we both go downstairs. Mary had a little office, which up until now I'd strictly respected her privacy. But I wanted answers and needed to find out anything which might explain who this man was. So we go inside, and within moments we see a picture of Mary together with the exact man. Hair, face, everything matched. So it was her dead husband then, we discovered. I was unable to spend time there for ages, practically half moving in with my girlfriend at her apartment a few towns over. But there was a need to stay back in my place on occasions as it wasn't possible to always be at hers. The times I spent in my room always felt uncomfortable, and I always woke up just after 3 a.m. to what seemed to be a very murky kind of atmosphere, like thick, if that makes sense. The temperature would drop as well, and I knew that he was there, watching me. I was utterly freaked out, and even if I badly needed to use the restroom, I was too nervous to leave my duvet shelter with the thought of him being visible again. Now, I will mention that I told my landlady what happened, and she really wasn't ready to believe me, saying that she hadn't seen or felt any presence of her ex-husband. I was going to press the issue, but I just figured it was a sensitive matter. But I decided I had to fully leave the place, and I still wanted my own space to find fresh digs. It was about a week or so before I finally moved out, that I was there alone on a Saturday. It was about midday. It was a nice summer day, and the house felt warm and normal. Perhaps this gave me a sense of bravado as I decided to audibly vent some thoughts. I was upstairs and proceeded to loudly shout how annoyed this made me and that perhaps it was all just a load of crap. That it was some freakish hallucination. Well, as soon as I finished the last word, a colossal bang noise came from downstairs. It was a heavy metallic crash with a reverberating aftertone. I literally crapped my pants. What the fuck was that, I thought. I had to go downstairs, especially now I had to leave the house and go somewhere to get away. I go downstairs, and literally in the hallway by the front door was an ornate silver antique serving tray. This tray was always in the dining room table. It usually had a wooden bowl on it with fruit inside. Now, two things were evident. This tray had literally been picked up and thrown to the floor in a section some distance from where it originated. Secondly, the spirit was angry and displaying its strength. I was done. I called Mary while I was staying with my girlfriend, and I told her that I would be there to drop off the keys, and if she wasn't there, I'd just put them in the mailbox. I didn't tell her what just happened, but what I needed, a fresh place to stay. The following weekend, I was there with my girlfriend packing the car with my possessions. Mary wasn't there, so it was just the two of us. My girlfriend was upstairs grabbing a few light bags of clothing and came running downstairs saying he whipped me. I was like, what? And yes, she lifted her top, and there it was, about half a dozen red lash marks across her back. I said, wait in the car. I ran upstairs, grabbed what was left, and shoved the keys through the letterbox. And I promise you, I have never been back since. Wow. There are literally so many layers to this story. Like, I don't even know where to begin. First and foremost, dude just seemed like he was homeless. Because he was staying at his girlfriend's house, at his next girlfriend's house, and Miss Mary's house. Of course there's a ghost of her husband watching you, because he know you trying to take advantage. You ain't paid no rent. He ain't paid no bill, no water bill, no phone bill, no electricity bill. You just over here freeloading, man. You know what? If that was my wife and I was the ghost, every time you woke up, I would be staring at you. And then you gonna have the nerve to bring your girlfriends over my house and you ain't paid no bills? Man, listen. I don't blame the spirit doing what the spirit's supposed to do, watching after his wife in the afterlife. So, brother, my advice to you is get your own place, baby. Then you can bring all. And can we say, my man, how many girlfriends did he have? Buddy move fast, don't he? Man, listen, get your own spot. Then you ain't got to worry about the ghost of Miss Mary's husband looking at you while you trying to do what you do in somebody else's house, man. It's just like in high school. You can't be doing all that in your mama's house. Well, that's my advice from a ghost brother and how I would handle that situation. Well, this has been another amazing episode of Ghost Stories with the Ghost Brother. And I'm your ghost brother, Dalen Spratt. So again, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. And I'm going to keep these stories coming. And I'm going to always tell the truth afterwards. See you next time.